Ask Reddit. Dear hotel receptionists of Reddit, who is the most horrible guest you have ever encountered? There was this one guest who demanded a room upgrade because their aura didn't vibe with the one they booked. When told no, they started yelling, cursed the staff, and threatened to leave a bad review, only to call back later asking for a discount because they forgot their wallet. We had a guru and her 2 associates come in once. The associates weren't allowed to speak. The guru called down to the front desk because the polyester mattress cover was interfering with her aura. She said she had to have a natural cotton fiber cover. So we found a different brand, cut out the tag that said polyester, told her it was cotton, and put it on her bed. Next day, she reported her aura was fine after sleeping on the cotton cover. Meanwhile, while we were changing her bed, her associates ate the entire week's worth of bananas in the dining room, plus a shit ton of sausage. Neither one of them weighed over 100 pounds. And during all that, one of our housekeepers went into a room and found a knit comb and empty bottles of lice shampoo. Turns out a family had rented 3 or 4 different rooms all over the hotel. One of the kids had lice and was running in and out of all their rooms. I thought our manager was gonna quit that day. We had a guest whose kid squat walked a turd/diarrhea 12 feet in a line into the pool, then demanded we clean up their child's poo. Then they were upset that we had to close the pool. Also had a creepy old man come up to me asking me to bring rubber duckies to his room for his bath every night in a 5-star hotel, and I'd always just kinda nervously laugh. I'm living in far north Queensland in Australia, where there are lots of creatures. They get in sometimes, no matter how nice the hotel is. It's the rainforest. We had a guest from NZ come screaming at us about a lizard infestation because she had found a 1-inch gecko in her room. She said her kids were afraid, they were not, and it was unsanitary and unsafe. We removed the lizard and she demanded an entire new room. And she left a very nasty review because one of us cracked a smile at the term lizard infestation. God, I have so many weird stories I can't even remember half of them. Edit. This seems to be primarily a gecko thread now. Here's a video I took of a gecko fight I saw on my porch the other night. Lizard tax. Probably the guy at a stag party who managed to S himself in the lobby and then run away pursued by security as he dribbled a trail of diarrhea across the lobby, up the stairs, in the lift, etc., like the world's worst Hansel and Gretel. When security caught up to the surprisingly fast, drunk guy, he had made it to the first-floor public bathroom and flooded it trying to flush his trousers and underwear. Just standing there, runnies dripping down his legs and full bait and tackle swinging in the breeze. I once stayed at a hotel next to an event center I was volunteer staffing at. I had a hotel room in a hotel maybe 300 meters from the event center. Well, what no one realized was that the bridge over the railway between the event center and the hotel was shut for repairs, and the detour was 8 miles. I hadn't slept for 48 hours mid-event, and decided I absolutely had to sleep right then, so decided to climb across this building side of a railway bridge at about 2 a.m. I stumbled and fell on a pile of wet cement gravel, and I mean I ate that face first at full speed. I got up and blearily stumbled back to the hotel and crawled into bed. In the morning I woke up, and as I got down to the ground floor of the hotel, there was gravel everywhere. There was a trail of it right through the hotel lobby back to the entrance, and staff frantically trying to sweep it up. Apparently, some drunk guest had trapped it, and hey, I was sober as a judge, just very tired and hurt, and that the night staff had just left it there for the day team to deal with. So yeah, I was accidentally deemed to be drunk and caused a gravelly mess in a hotel lobby despite having had no alcohol. It all started when the guest checked in late one evening. He seemed normal enough until he asked, "Does my room come with a microwave?" I told it didn't. He looked absolutely devastated and said, "I cannot survive without a microwave." I offered to warm something up for him if needed, but that wasn't good enough. He stormed out and came back an hour later, dragging a full-size microwave he purchased from a nearby store. The trouble really started at 3 a.m. when the fire alarm went off, waking the entire hotel. Turns out, Mr. Midnight Microwave decided to cook a steak in his new appliance. Not just heat it, he'd seasoned it, wrapped it in foil, and popped it in like it was an oven. The foil caused a small fire, which set off the sprinklers in his room. By the time we got there, his room was soaked, the microwave was destroyed, and he was trying to save his steak by patting it dry with hotel towels. When asked why he'd thought this was a good idea, he replied, "I didn't know microwaves couldn't cook steak." This is your fault for not having one in the room in the first place. Needless to say, he was charged for the damage. The room was out of commission for weeks. Either the regular in room 222 who always wet his bed, or the couple in 250 that were staying with us after their house had burned down who would inspect their towels each night, and any tiny spot would come exchange them with the front desk, then inspect those. This was a little no-tell motel that sold rooms for $25 a night in 1990. Mainly catered to construction workers, cheap business travelers, and people who balked at an ID with their credit card because they weren't using their real name. Our neighbors had a house fire and got put up at a local hotel by their insurance. The hotel eventually kicked them out. They had 9 kids who would spend the day running up and down the halls. Non-stop noise complaints. I suspect there was also some kind of hotel blacklist involved because the next thing we knew, 2 giant trailers were deposited in the yard. One was on either side of the burned-out house, each about 20 feet from our house, and a neighboring house on the other side. The town looked the other way on all the zoning laws because penalizing fire victims was not a good look. The investigation eventually found that they had stacked newspaper up to the ceiling in giant piles in the basement to make money off of recycling. It had caught fire when they ran a kerosene heater next to it. They were lucky they weren't all killed. Eventually, they stopped emptying the sewage tanks from the trailers and started putting soiled toilet paper directly in the construction dumpster facing the street. The wind would catch it and blow it into the neighboring yards. Finally had to get the health department involved. I came home from school and my dad had left a clear plastic bag of the stuff tied with a ribbon for the health inspector. Blurg. Do you have any stories about horrible people at hotels? Feel free to share below. Please consider subscribing and liking for more daily videos.